I'm Johnny Scoville, and this is Chase the Heat. This is going to be an interesting one, but it's going to be good. It's going to be deep. This video, this is not sponsored. I don't want you to think I'm getting something for this, but I found something so cool. Represent the code. 802, where I'm from, Vermont. Represent the code. The back says represent the code. It's the coolest shirt in the world. I have a new friend named Carrie. Hi, Carrie. Carrie's son has a very, very cool, this is his company. And let me see, we're gonna bike. I'm not too worried about where I am today or how long I am. We're just gonna talk because I have a couple of things I wanna share that I think are poignant. And that's all there is to it. So I'm riding right now. Let me put this underneath something so it's protected from the sun, otherwise I'm gonna overheat. There we go, all right. Okay, so here's the deal, people. I think most of us live our life, and I really love this shirt. Here's why this is important. I don't care where you've moved. You can move 20 places. If someone says, well, what's your zip code? You got a zip code. You got one that, from home, it's home. And I've lived all over. But 802, that's my home zip code. What's yours? In the description box, you're going to see a link for these. Wicked cool. Please check them out and get one. Represent your code. All right, so look, here's the deal. I said something in a video the other day, and someone sent me an email, and it kind of made me think about this. And I just started writing some notes down, some deep stuff, and ended up Googling some things. And so here's what we're going to do. And by the way, this video is also brought to you by ES Power Drink, the official drink of Chase the Heat. It's tragic I ever have to drink anything else. This is an energy drink with Trinidad Moruga scorpion in it. It's amazing. All right, so I think most people, and I was guilty of this for a long time, most people live their lives on autopilot. You know? We think life happens to us. You know? I happen to life. It's the other way around. So we have to, so it made me think. I'm gonna have a little bit of ES Power Drink and show you my shirt while I'm thinking. Give me 1 second. All right. Now, wicked truth of life is that we're all gonna meet our demise one day. Father Time, undefeated, baby. We all have our appointment with it. So, it made me think. I think, you know, I used to have an arrogant approach. In fact, I even said this earlier on the channel. I changed. I used to say, there on my gravestone, there are going to be two different dates, right? One is 7/6/66. I'm old, sorry, it is what it is. And then there's the second date. And my old mentality, my old approach to life was, until that second date was chiseled onto that granite, I'm invincible. I'm bulletproof and nothing can get me. And then I got older and I realized that, you know, I got to a point, you get to a point where you realize you don't know anything. So, that to me is a really arrogant way to live. So I had a paradigm shift. And I got this in church. Now, good time to interject. I don't care what you believe. I don't care what you pray to. That's what's good about this channel. Nobody does that. Nobody cares. We love you because you like Chili's, or we're here for the same reason. I'm never gonna down somebody for what they believe, so please don't down me for what I believe. But I heard this in church. And what it basically said was, it was interesting because you have to understand, from my point of view, I had this approach on my gravestone. You know, there's two dates. Until date 2 happens, I'm invincible. Well, the sermon, which was great, start off by saying there's going to be two dates on my gravestone. But those dates don't matter at all. No one cares about the day I was born. No one cares about the day I die. But what matters is that little dash in the middle. Because that dash represents what you did, the sum of your accomplishments, everything you said, everything you thought of, everything you did, everything you didn't do, everything you should have done. All contained in that little teeny dash that's so overlooked, you know? So it made me kind of think. It made me think. So what I did was, not to be morbid, but I looked up the top 12 biggest regrets of the dying, the people who are at the end. Okay, and here's what they are. I want you to think about this. They're interesting. Number one on the list, I wish I spent more time with the people I loved. The funny thing is, along the way, light bulbs of these went off with me. You know? And I think it comes with wisdom of life. But I wish I had spent more time with the people I loved. I'm alive. I'm playing the back nine for sure. But that's my regret right now. I want to spend more time with those I love. Number two, I wish I had worried less. I don't know where these were. Probably find similar lists, but it doesn't really matter. It was off the internet. But I wish I had worried less. You know, this is going to come up at a later one. However, dogs live in the moment. Do you know what I mean? They don't worry about yesterday. They aren't really concerned about tomorrow. You know, we should be more like dogs. Worry less. It's hard to do. Here's the thing. Does it make sense to worry about something you can't control? No, right? All we can do is control how we react to the things that happen to us. Great line in Pirates of the Caribbean. Captain Jack Sparrow says, "Your problem isn't your problem." Of course, you said it better than I did. He goes, "Your problem is your attitude about the problem." And every time in our lives we got something going on, that's always the case. So figuring out how to worry less. If it's not something you can control, like here's the thing we do a lot is we live in the past. Think about the things that have happened in the past. Why would we live there? It's not happening. You know, why carry the problems of yesterday into today? Today is going to bring its own issues and complications, right? Won't it? So, during today, why would I worry about tomorrow? Tomorrow's going to bring its own set of problems, and I can't do anything about tomorrow. I may be dead tomorrow. This could be the last video I ever make, so why, worry less, live in the moment. All right, number 3 is a big one. Number 3 is oh well, use my shirt. All right, so 2.6 miles so far. So, and I'm not really doing a time thing today. I'm just going to cover this, and when I'm done, I'm done. Number 3 is a big one. I wish I had forgiven more. There's a lot of great analogies about it. Like, holding a grudge is like drinking poison, hoping the other person is going to die. I don't hold grudges. And I say that, I've said this before. I'm too selfish to hold a grudge. Well, I'm not going to let somebody live in my head. I had too much good stuff going on. So, let me explain to you how the forgiveness thing is, with me anyway. If you carry a grudge around, It's like baggage. It's a great movie reference. It's a great movie reference. And The Devil's Advocate. Al Pacino goes, "What are you carrying it around for? Put it down. It's like luggage." I think he was talking about guilt. I don't know what he was talking about. But forgiving, holding a grudge is like carrying around luggage. You know? Like, I forgive, this is the truth. I forgive people that do something to me. It's not like they have to ask for forgiveness in order to receive forgiveness from me. There's no grudge against anybody for anything, ever. I don't have time for that. So I forgive because I'm selfish. And there's no way in the world I'm going to carry a burden around that doesn't affect the person I'm beefing with or the issue or the company or whatever. You know what I mean? If I'm mad at someone, let's say hypothetically I'm mad at a company that did something to me. And for a whole year I'm mad at them. What did it get me? Nothing. It's just wasted energy. I don't hold grudges. I don't. All right. And I'd encourage you not to hold grudges either, man. We all got somebody that we need to forgive. We all have somebody that we hope forgives us. Trust me, in my life, there's way more people that I hope forgive me that need forgiveness from me. Anyhow, number 4 was I wish I'd stood up for myself more. That's a good example of one of those red light ones that come on in life. At some point you go, wait a minute, I'm not a doormat. If I don't stand up for myself, no one's gonna. No one's got my back. Because people say, I got your 6. You know, you come into the world alone, you go out alone. You got your own 6. So stand up for yourself. It's interesting. There are times where standing up for yourself, it's interesting. Before I had a channel, standing up for myself was something different than it means now. Because now, people will say things that just aren't true. They'll, they just will. And I could easily say, hey, this is what's going on. But here's the truth of it. There's 140,000 people almost that have subscribed to this channel. This many people may be aware of something. Why should I put attention to something that doesn't need to? So if there are people that say things about me, you don't understand. You can't get to my radar. I think it's comical, actually. Like, I live in my head. I don't live in the heads of others. I do that to other people, apparently. I feel bad for those people. No time in life to hate. It's silly. Okay. This is an interesting one. I wish I had lived my own life. And that's in reference to people who sometimes feel the influence from family or whatever. And they find themselves, like, you can find yourself unconscious, and 20 years have gone by and you've been in the switch down unconscious spectator mode versus the switch up, I'm engaged, I'm a participant mode. And this time has flown by you and you realize you haven't really lived a purposeful life. Live your own life. Like, I'm living my own life. My goal is to live my best life. My dad said the best revenge is living well. I'm crushing it in that department. My dad was a very, very good man. He died 3 years ago tomorrow. So I really hearing my dad's voice a lot lately. Here's an interesting one, number 6. I wish I had been more honest. Think about that. In other words, if you're dishonest in life, that's something that's going to burden you towards the end. Do you understand? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Every one of these things are ways we should modify how we exist now so that when we get to the end of our rope, we aren't thinking of these things. Forgive now, so at the end of your rope, you aren't saying to a kid or a parent or someone, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Or I forgive you. I'm not mad at you anymore. Wish I had been more honest. Be honest. be honest. You know, the funny thing is, it's easier to be honest. It's so much easier to be honest, even if it's ugly and you got to face it, than it is to lie and play that game of spinning the plates and keeping the lies going. Trust me, anybody who's an addict was a liar. So trust me, life is so much better when you can tell the truth and you don't have to think of an answer. All right, number 7, I wish I'd worked less. Boy, that's a biggie. That's a biggie. I wish I'd worked less. Every time I pull this shirt up, getting skinnier. Wish I'd worked less. Man, oh man. That's a big one that I have. Fortunately, right now, I don't feel like I work at all. I mean, I work hard. Believe me, I do. But this is such a passion of mine. It doesn't feel like, I mean, I don't have a boss. Well, I kind of do now. Hulu, Disney, and such. But I don't feel like I work. Keep it in balance, you know? Because you can't get the time back. When your kids are growing up and you aren't there, you can't get the time back. All right. Number 8, I wish I cared less about what others think. Excuse me. You know who pays me, you guys? Let me tell you where I get paid from. People buy t-shirts and other products from johnnyscoville.com, right? YouTube pays me for all you amazing people watching this. And YouTube is owned by Google, so my paycheck comes from Google. In nowhere in there is there a breakdown where it says this is the part of your check that you get for caring about what others think. This is the part of your check you get for making videos. This is the part of the check you get from selling t-shirts. You know, there is no, I don't get paid to care about what other people think of me. And I don't. Now, I think this probably occurs in normal life. I've been doing this for so long, I almost can't remember. But as a content creator, this is something that had never happened to me before. Before I became a content creator, and don't misunderstand me here, there were people in my life who hated me. But every one of those people who hated me had a reason to. I did something to deserve it. I can tell you what it was. You know? I did something to deserve it. So when you had hate coming your way, it almost felt like it was sort of just in a way. You know what I mean? When I became a content creator, I had people all of a sudden that hated me. And I always say for no other reason just to hate me. It's not that. It isn't for no reason. The people that hate me as a content creator, and in your normal life, some people that hate you may hate you because what they see in you is what's missing in them. I can promise you, the people that don't like me, they don't like me because it's a jealousy thing. There's something in me. It may not be the Hulu thing, or I don't know what it is. But there's something that they see in me that's inadequate or missing in them. And that's where that hate comes from. But do I care about what others think? I'm getting pretty good at it. My skin is thicker now. I will tell you this, if you want to be a YouTuber, you can't live being too concerned with what people think about you. The best power drink I've ever had. Just a bummer I ever have to drink anything else. All right. Number 9, wish I had lived up to my potential. Which is an interesting one because what's your potential? You know? You think about people that stars or musicians that we lose early. Buddy Holly is a good example. Do you have any idea how amazing Buddy Holly was? If you knew how short his career was, people think, well, what could he have done? What if that was all he had? What if that was it? I don't know. I'm sure he had a lot more. God, I'm sure of it. But what is our potential? Is there a way to know? You can't go to mypotential.com, fill out some questions honestly, and have them say, this is what you should be doing. So what is your potential? What's mine? I can tell you I'm doing things now I never thought I could. It comes from believing in yourself, never giving up, never listening to the haters. But what is your potential, and are you living up to it? I don't know. I think what people at the end are saying, because remember, these are the biggest regrets of the dying. So if somebody's at the end of their life and they're saying, I wish I'd lived up to my potential, it tells you that they lived their life with their switch down. They were a spectator and they weren't a participant. Number 10, I wish I had faced my fears. Oh man, my dad used to say, run at your problems. Excuse me, if you run from them, you're just gonna fight tired because the problems don't go away. They're gonna catch up to you. It's like an invisible tether cord. And even if you run fast, I mean really fast, you may get to a point where you can stop and a year will go by and you think you've dodged it. It's still there. So run at them. That's what made me feel like such a coward. I quit drinking on April 10th. This April 10th, it'll be 5 years. I used to tell people all the time, run at your problems. Don't run away from them, run at them. And all the while I was drinking, running away from a problem that I knew I had. So I quit and I feel really good about that. I tell the story sometimes. I was in Russia. I was on a training one with a dude named Tony. He was my translator while I was there. I was getting ready to run a marathon, the Siberian International Marathon. I swear it's a true story. It was cool as can be. There's no way he'll see this, but man, if he did, he'd say, yeah, I remember that. We were running on this back road, little houses, maybe like a 10-mile run, a short run. That's a very short one when you're preparing for a marathon. But Tony was a star for running with me. Anyway, we came around this corner, and the doorway of this house was a big German Shepherd. And it came 2 steps out of the house and growled. And I ran at it as fast as my pace went from a slow glide, because I'm a marathon runner, I'm gliding, to a very aggressive run right at the dog and growled at it. It whimpered and ran inside the house really fast. And Tony said, dude, that was insane. How did you know the dog was going to do that? And I said, I didn't. But I sure wasn't going to run from that dog the way it growled. What do you think it would have done? And I was faster than Tony. It wouldn't have got me. It would have got Tony. So I thought running at it was a good idea. Run at your fears. Number 11, I wish I had stopped chasing the wrong things. Another one of those red light things that kind of hopefully goes off in your head. I chased things for a long time, whether it was women or money. I never really chased fame. That was never on my agenda. But I always wanted to make a lot of money, you know. I remember getting to a place where I realized that the best things in life weren't things at all. The best things in life have nothing to do with things. My opinion, the best things in life, what I cherish the most important and dear things to me are relationships, bonds with people. Those are the right things. And number 12, I'd wish I'd lived in the moment more. I've talked about that already. You know, yesterday doesn't matter. Tomorrow isn't here yet. The only thing that matters is today. So what are you doing with it, you know? So what are you living for? Let's do this again. I'm going to go for I'm going to go for 30 minutes today. Let's go to the top and do something funny. Here are 12 things that nobody ever said on their deathbed. You ready? Man, I wish I had spent less time with my family. Wish I had spent less time with the ones I loved. No one's ever said that. Man, I wish I had worried more, in my life. Said nobody. Man, there's so many people I'm holding grudges with, but there are more. I could have held more grudges. There are more people. I shouldn't have forgiven that guy. Never should have forgiven him. Said nobody. Man, I never should have stood up for myself. I should have just been mousy and let people walk on me. Said nobody. Man, I wish I had just done what everybody else had told me their whole life. I never, said nobody. I wish I had lied more. Said nobody. I wish I had worked more. I wish I spent more hours at the office. Said nobody. Crazy enough, there probably are people on their deathbed that are still worried on their deathbed about what people are thinking about them. It just isn't me. Wish I had run from my fears more. Said nobody. Wish I lived for tomorrow or lived in the past more. Said nobody. So what are you living for? Like, not to be morbid, but if you died today, are you happy with your dash? Because here's the thing. It's like this. Life is a participant sport. It's not a spectator sport. Even the ones that are spectating are participating, but that's the extent of their participation. So, whether you give a hoot about your dash or not, you got a dash. If I got a race today, if a bolt of lightning comes down on this clear day and smokes me right now, I'm leaving a dash. What is my dash? My dash for 30 years sucked. I was not a good guy. I was a drug abuser. I lied to everybody. I turned my life around. But I'm playing a game of catch-up ball. This is why I'm working hard at fixing my dash. Because the first half was a smudge. It wasn't a dash. So, if understand that there are people of a variety of ages watching this. There are people in great health, people whose health is failing, people who need to forgive and need forgiveness. But everybody here watching this has got a dash that you should be concerned about. Do you care about your dash? I'm not trying to preach. I'm really not. I think the odds are that people that live their life on autopilot at the end of their life are going to be facing those 12 regrets. You can count on most of them being there for you if you're living your life on autopilot. You know what I mean? If you're living your life with your switch down, if you think that life is a spectator sport, more of those regrets are going to be facing you in your end when it comes to the end. I'm not trying to be a jerk. That's a fact. So hit your switch, flip it up. Be engaged, live on purpose. Live on purpose, do things purposefully. Don't live by accident. What kind of dash is important to you, though? Rick James, he's dead, so he's got a dash. When Rick James died, he was a crack addict his whole life. Excuse me. When he died, he had crack in his system. But in addition to crack in his system, he had like 12 or 13 other drugs in his system. And I read a story about him, and it said that he never had a sober day. That's his dash. Here's the crazy thing. There are people that look up to him and say, what a life he had. About that dash. Now, if that sounds like I'm judging Rick James, I'm sorry. But I want my dash to matter. Even if they say he was a scumbag the first 30 years, but man, he turned that franchise around. You know what I mean? I want my dash to be he tried to help somebody. He tried to help somebody get sober, or he was kind to somebody. Sure, he may have been a prick the first half of his life, but boy, didn't he turn that around. That's what I want my dash to be. And that's why, here's the thing, if you just found my channel, understand this pace has been like this for 8 years. I've made 2 videos a day, every day for 8 years. Essentially. Do the math. 5,200 some odd videos in less than 8 years. I'm 15 seconds away from the 30 minutes. So are you on autopilot? Are you? You know, I don't want any of those regrets on my plate at the end. You know what I want? I want my loved ones there. I want to be laughing with them. I want to be telling them there's nothing to be scared of. They'll see me again. It was a long period of time. It was my 30 minutes. You know what I told you early in the video? Represent the code, people. What's your area code? Check out the link in the description box, as well as ES Power Drink. But live on purpose. Nobody knows when your time is up. Nobody knows. Would you want to know? Would you? I don't know. I can tell you this, since we don't know when our ticket's up, it makes sense to live every day the best you can. Try to work on your practice. I say this a lot, doctors and lawyers, they have a business, but they don't call it a business, you know, they don't. Doctors and lawyers, they call their business a practice. And it's never really been said for facts why this could be. But my theory is it's because they can't ever perfect it. People are different, so they're always practicing. But how is your practice? How's your practice? Are you practicing? Maybe that was just a lot of hot air, but that's the kind of stuff I think about. I don't want to live with regrets, you know? The day that my dad died a year ago tomorrow, 1 year ago today, he FaceTimed me. My dad never FaceTimed me. He Skyped me, you know, he just never did. We talked. Here's the thing. My dad never called me. I call my dad every day. I'm getting in shape. But I call my dad every day. And 3 years ago today, my dad's FaceTimed me out of nowhere. And I have a beautiful screenshot of it. I don't know what made me take a screenshot in the moment, but he looked at me, he says, "I'm dying, Johnny." And he had the, you know what the look on his face was? It was utter peace, with none of those 12 things on that list that I read you were bugging him. Not a one. It was the most peaceful moment I've ever seen of him. In fact, I've taken the screenshot of that. I showed my mom, bums her out, but it's like I've never seen him more peaceful, ever. He died that night. Anyway, he said, "I'm dying." I said, "Are you scared?" He said, "No, I'm not scared." He said, "I'm proud of you. Take care of your mother," which is why I'm here right now. But the look on his face was the look of on the face of a guy who handled it all. He already, you know when they say get your affairs in order? He did. So, Father Time is undefeated. Know that. So live your life in such a way that in the end you have fewer regrets. Benny Hill. I love the Benny Hill show. Benny Hill famously said, "Live every day as though it was your last. One day, you'll be right." I'll leave you with that. In the description box, you're going to see a link for ES Power Drink. You're going to see a link for Represent the Code. Such a cool shirt. I don't care. You know, it's funny. If you lived in one spot, it makes sense. But it's even cooler if you moved everywhere, because you know what? You got a code. I don't care how many area codes you've lived in, you got one that's yours. Which one's your code? Check that out. It's a cool shirt. Thank you, Carrie, for the shirt, and thank you for turning me on to that company. It's great. I hope you guys buy a bunch. They're neat. In the description box, you'll see all that. Right there is my son, Johnny Scoville Jr. Please check him out. He's a good kid. Chip off the old blockhead. Right there is Tommy Scoville, my much more handsome younger brother. Right here are all the challenges I've ever done. Excuse me. Pepperology there for all you new people, new chili heads. What's your dash looking like? I'm Johnny Scoville. This was Chase the Heat.